Hi guys, welcome back to TV Spoilers. Today I'm going to review to the viewers a love story between Sally and Billy that will bring exciting surprises to the audience next week. Has Sally chosen the right person for her true love? In the fated kiss and passionate night, Sally completely surrenders, forgetting Audra's warnings and past troubles. They spend the night together, reaffirming a relationship that seemed to be over. The next morning, Sally wakes up with mixed feelings of regret and unexpected happiness. When a once broken relationship has a chance to be rekindled, the most dangerous thing is never a blatant lie or an obvious plot, but the moment when the heart softens just as reason is trying to build the last walls. For Sally, that evening was not simply a reunion between two former lovers. It was like a cruel test of emotions, where every old wound, still unhealed, was reopened, where every resolve to move forward suddenly became fragile because Billy knew all too well how to make her recall the most beautiful moments between them. She entered that space defensively, reminding herself that this could only be a polite closing, a final confrontation to restore to the past the wholeness it never had. But from the start, the atmosphere Billy created made all boundaries harder to maintain than she imagined. The meticulous attention to detail, the seemingly familiar closeness, and the way he transformed a dinner into a deliberate attempt at reconciliation made Sally realize that Billy had never considered this a mere social gathering. He wanted more. He wanted to pull her back closer, to rewrite the ending they had both let slip away so bitterly. Billy didn't need to do anything ostentatious to show that he was pouring his heart into this opportunity. It was Billy's sincerity, mixed with a fierce determination, that most profoundly affected Sally. He didn't approach her like a man trying to conquer her from the start, but like someone who had lost something most precious and now had only a slim chance to make amends. This made every gesture carry the weight of regret and longing. Billy didn't deny past mistakes, nor did he rush to erase the wounds that had once existed between them. On the contrary, his direct, almost naked display of his emotions made it even harder for Sally to resist. What she feared wasn't just Billy being impulsive, unpredictable, or making the wrong choice again. What she feared most was that despite all the disappointment she'd experienced, a deep part of her still loved him. Still remembered the feeling of being made special in the room, still felt vulnerable to the passion Billy reserved only for what he truly wanted to keep. But it was precisely because of this that Sally's internal struggle became more intense. She was no longer the woman who could instantly forget everything she had suffered with just a romantic gesture. Audra's warnings weren't meaningless noise. They resonated in Sally's mind like a constant bell, reminding her that mistakes hurt more than once. Audra had seen something Sally herself probably didn't want to admit. Billy had enough allure to draw her back to where she had been hurt, and sometimes self-destructive behavior isn't about blindness, but about knowing the risk yet still believing in the exception. The longer Sally sat opposite Billy, the more she realized her rationality wasn't as strong as she thought. She remembered the disappointments, the feeling of being left behind by his choices, the moments she had to pick up herself after her faith had been eroded. But intertwined with these were fragments of memories, both tender and cruel, things that prevented her from completely severing the ties between them. It's what weakens people the fastest, not forgetting the pain, but being unable to forget both happiness and pain simultaneously. Billy understood this perfectly, and perhaps he didn't need to deliberately manipulate Sally to make her heart flutter. He only needed to be honest in the right places, gentle at the right times, and assertive enough to show that he hadn't given up. And the layers of defensiveness Sally had built up began to crumble. When Billy expressed his feelings, it wasn't just an affirmation that he still loved her. What made it dangerous was the way he made that love sound like an undeniable truth, as if an unbroken undercurrent had always existed between them. He didn't just talk about missing her, but also about the desire for reconciliation, about the belief that what had been broken wasn't necessarily over forever. For someone like Sally, who always longed for a love genuine enough to overcome heartbreak, those words struck her the weakest point. She didn't just listen to Billy with her ears. She felt him with all her weariness, loneliness, and yearning for love. And when emotions overwhelmed her to that extent, the line between sanity and giving up became incredibly thin. Personally, I find this plot point very captivating in Y&R because it doesn't need overly dramatic shocks to draw viewers into every emotional movement. It strikes a chord with the very real feelings of relationships that seem to have ended but never truly disappeared. Billy has the determination of someone unwilling to let go. Sally has the soft heart of someone who would try to move on, but whose heart couldn't quite follow. This internal struggle makes the story both romantic and dangerous, sweet yet on the verge of collapse. And perhaps what I liked most about the storyline is that it reminds us that sometimes the most beautiful moment is also the most terrifying, because it forces the characters to confront what they most desire and fear most at the same time. If Sally is truly standing at a crossroads in her life, the most heartbreaking thing is that no matter which path she chooses, she will have to sacrifice a part of herself.